when the light goes dark, hear the voices of creation across the stormy sky. We look to reincarnation to explain our lives as if a children, we rise again in the voices of our song. We rise again in the waves out on the ocean. And then we rise again, we rise again, we rise again in the faces of our children. We rise again in the voices of our song. We rise again in the waves out on the ocean. And then we rise again, once again, and then we rise again.
So Ron wanted me to announce that this is a celebration, not a funeral, and the bar is open, so please help yourself. It will be closed during the time of the service, though. There are several reasons that we're here today. The first is to remember. We remember the relationships that Andrew enjoyed throughout his life. We remember the conversations and good times spent together as family, as a chorus, and as friends that we were so privileged to share with him. The second is to reflect. Services like this are a time to reflect on the beauty of a life, and we reflect on all those things that made Andrew special to all of the people around him. Andrew wore many hats in the various roles that he participated in so proudly in his life, and one very special red cape of courage. He truly was our real-life Superman. We are also here to renew our focus. We are entering a new chapter in our lives, and that causes us to renew our focus on what is really important and what we truly value. We walk together to renew our commitment to support each other as we grieve. And so let's take some time to remember, reflect, and renew as we watch a slideshow, which we want to give special thanks to Ruth Martin for preparing, and celebrate Andrew's life and his legacy.
Wake up to the sunlight with your windows open. Don't hold it.
Meeting Joe and Andrew last August when they asked me to perform their wedding ceremony for them, and I remember sitting in the cafe with them and chatting a little bit about their plans and their vision for their wedding. And Andrew, in his great sense of humor, every once in a while looking over at Joe and saying something crazy like, "Pull my finger." Because that's just who Andrew was. And as we continued to talk about their engagement and their love story, and then they got a little bit quiet for a minute, and they kind of said across the table to one another, should we tell her? Well, what do you, oh, okay, let's just tell her. And I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like, okay guys, what's up? Like, what's going on? And that's when they shared with me about Andrew and his diagnosis. And the fact that we didn't know what was gonna come with that. In fact, we didn't even know if Andrew was gonna make it to the wedding day. You know, there were so many questions. And sitting there and reflecting on that, and reflecting on the 7 months that we just have just passed and what we've seen in the slideshow, I can't even put words to the fact that I have seen a couple who have lived more in their marriage in 7 months than some people live an entire lifetime. And I am so thankful that I was able to share in this moment, that we were all able to share in this moment on October 1st of last year. Everybody who was here and celebrating with us at their wedding. And it only seems fitting that we gather here in this place again today. And yeah, I'm crying right now, and I promise I'll pull it together. But here to celebrate the life of Andrew, because I tell you, it was a life well lived.
Ding, 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 ding. Blackbirds sing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you've only waited for this moment to arrive. Blackbirds singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see all your life. You've only waited for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. Dee 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 dee, da 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 dee 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 dee. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night.
Hello everybody, I'm Steve Black, and I've known all the Shackletons for a long, long time. In fact, I've known Andrew since before he was born. His parents, John and Karen, were friends of mine even before they got married. I must say, wow, I can't believe how many. I've been, obviously I'm very old, I've been to lots of funerals. I've never seen one this size. John and Karen and Andrew moved to Ohio from England when I think Andrew was 2 or 3 or something. We followed to Ontario a few years later and reunited. By then, my wife and I had a serious addiction, which, they're laughing, they know what it was, which we soon passed on to John and Karen and spent a lot of time playing bridge. Okay. So that the Shackleton children pretty well brought themselves up. Andrew was not a perfect child, like the rest of us weren't. He had couldn't possibly be a perfect child. He had 3 young sisters and my daughter Amy to tease him and be teased by. Well, parents just ignored him, to be honest. Andrew was an amazing parent. 10 years old in Toby, he was kind and generous and patient, much more patient than Toby's father was. And that's a quality that I saw in him for many years to come. And we had such a wonderful, memorable Christmas because of the surprise Shackleton there. We've talked about that Christmas many times since, and it's silly. I think of it every time we play Boulder Dash, because that was what he brought us for Christmas. And we played it and played it and played it for about 3 days.
I'd like to invite Ron Coulter, one of Andrew's best friends, to come forward and share with us.
I'm not real comfortable doing this, I have to be honest, and I'm certainly not going to have it all off the paper the way Steve did. But anyway, yeah, my name's Ron Coulter, and I'm proud to say that Andrew Shackleton and I were very close friends. We were together so much that some of the guys, Mike Neff, teased us that we were more than just friends. And Andrew was always quick to encourage that sort of thinking. The women in Andrew's life have referred to me as his co-conspirator. I'm not really sure what they meant by that. But in the grand scheme of things, I really haven't known Andrew for all that long. We only met when he moved here from Sarnia and joined the local barbershop chorus, the Twin City Harmonizers. We became friends from the start, but our friendship grew a lot closer when we started sharing the drive to Hamilton every week to sing with Harbourtown Sound. He loved to tell me the stories about the adventures of his greatest source of pride, his 2 amazing daughters, Madison and Chelsea. Sorry. They're awesome girls. He was so proud of you guys. He would tell me stories about his parents' involvement in barbershop singing and growing up with 3 sisters. Not sure how proud he was of that. As I'm sure most of you know, Andrew was quite a planner. He didn't plan to leave us at such an early age, but he certainly planned his future, as limited as it was. He told me that although he knew the cancer would probably cost him his life, he was determined to not let it ruin whatever time he had left. As he fought like a champ, he kept an attitude about him that amazed everyone that knew him. He was the poster boy for believing that if life hands you lemons, you make lemonade. In some ways, he really was Superman, a fighter and a supporter of others that were facing their own challenges. Andrew did more than just talk about having a bucket list. He had a list and he pursued it with a passion. I remember him asking, when he asked if I thought Johanna would go out for coffee with him, I said, "Are you kidding?" The energy between those two was obvious to everyone. After their first date to the Perimeter Institute for Theoretical Physics, I thought the relationship was doomed after a start like that. But Andrew made it his mission to make her his bride. Their wedding was, no doubt, the biggest item he had to check off his bucket list, but it didn't end there. With his marriage to Jo, he became stepdad to a great young man, Jacob. He was very proud of that. He had bought a new house and couldn't wait to share it with them all because family was the most important thing to Andrew. He bought a new motorcycle, sang in a quartet on the contest stage, that was a big one, became president of the Ontario District of the Barbershop Harmony Society, which he was right until his passing. As the founder of the Harmony is Healing campaign, he did his best to raise awareness for the fight against neuroendocrine cancer and the great work being done by the WellFit program at the University of Waterloo. As recently as a few weeks ago, Andrew amazed me with his determination to carry on when he told me of his intention to trade in his motorcycle for a new one. And he was going to join his sister Wendy on the Tail of the Dragon ride through the Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. That was just a few weeks ago. He had every intention of doing that. I could go on for hours talking about the things that made him the Andrew we all know and love, but there are others with good things to say about him, so I'm not going to stand here all day, even though I could. There's so many stories. But I'd like to end this with an expression that Andrew is fond of saying to people as a word of encouragement. It's a message that can apply to everyone as we go on in life. Don't suck. Thank you. Andrew's sisters asked me to share a few thoughts from them. Our big brother. Andrew was our big brother, and we adored him immensely. Even through years of teasing and torturous pranks, he was our first and fiercest defender. Andrew never held back in freely showing his love and care for us, even though we were just girls. Growing up with Andrew for a big brother was never a dull moment to be had, as you can all imagine. But being grown-ups and friends was the very best with him. We found how much we enjoyed each other's company, sharing moments and memories, raising our children, and carrying on the traditions and fun of our own childhood. We three girls had the best of the best, a wonderful big brother and a stellar friend. Thank you.
On behalf of the great barbershop family that Andrew belonged to, we would like to express our deepest condolences to Andrew's family, to Johanna and Madison and Chelsea and so many others. We grieve with you during this time of sadness, but we also celebrate a man whom we all admired so greatly. Both Chris and I had the privilege of being a musical director at some point to Andrew, and therefore we were kind of like teachers to him. And I'm sure that people from the Kitchener-Waterloo chapter as well as the Sarnia chapter would probably agree with some of these things we're about to say. However, both of us learned so much from Andrew and how he lived his life.
The barbershop version of the missing man formation, which is why Peter's not wearing his jacket. Actually, he's a jackass and he forgot it. Yeah, so anyways, we're going to sing a song that was requested, and it's The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
Bless us for Andrew. Serious, don't suck. Let's do it. Nice. Okay, all set? Nice. Ready. Ready. We'll be serious. We'll be serious. Yeah. Very serious. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the quiet jungle, the lion sleeps tonight.
Do-wah-wah-wah-oo-wah. Do-wah, do-wah-wah, the lion sleeps tonight. Oh, Superman, good night.
Now, many of you have known Andrew for many years, thus the long speeches. On the other hand, we've only known Andrew for about 4 years, so my comments will be very short. So I'd like to give you a taste of what it was like when Andrew came to our house for the first time. We talked about a lot of things, small things and big things, and it was obviously, compared to us, he was a real techie. So after dinner, as we walked away from the table, through the kitchen, and back to the family room, suddenly he stopped and he pointed at the wall and said, almost in shock, "Wait a minute." What's the matter? He said, I don't see voicemail, I don't see call forward, I don't see call display, I don't see an adapter, a headset, a digital answering machine. I know you don't have a cell phone and not a computer, but you still have that stupid dial phone. At that point, he must have wondered, what kind of people are these? He probably regretted it till the end, that he was unable to get us on board with his new technology. Later that evening, during a quiet moment, I couldn't believe my eyes. There is Andrew, sitting on the couch, and he's talking to his wristwatch. I thought for sure, there's something wrong here. But to my amazement, the watch talked back to him. Now I can honestly tell you that I will regret for the rest of my life for not seeing more of that strange behavior from Andrew. Andrew, we love you, we miss you, and may you rest in peace. Thank you.
Heavens received a very special angel that day. So allow me to share these words of comfort before we close our celebration of life for Andrew today. Our God, may your presence give us comfort today and in the days to come. May your peace rest upon us. May your blessings rest on Andrew's family and on his friends. We thank you for the life of Andrew, a life so well lived. In a world that is sometimes characterized by greed, hatred, and selfishness, we give thanks for a man who loved his family, loved other people, and did what he could to make this world a better place for himself and for others. Amen. That concludes our service for today. Friends, family, I invite you to please stick around, enjoy some time of fellowship and sharing memories. And Andrew really wanted this to be about a celebration today, and I think that he is smiling down on us right now and so proud of each and every one of you.
Sweet and lovely, that's what you are to me. Sugar and spice and everything nice. You're all a girl should be. Soon we'll marry, you'll be my blushing bride. I will smile all the while you're by my side. I will smile all the while you're by.
Blackbird sing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you've only waiting for this moment to arrive. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see.